I know it's been quite a while since I've last done any sort of video. I do apologize. The cost of living has seriously gone up. I normally don't become political, but it's starting to affect me. I'm on disability, so I'm having to do supplemental jobs. One being doing graphic arts freelance. I created a business page on Facebook, Sandman Art and Design. Basically a company I had back in the 90s. Not exactly a company, but just my art and stuff, and that's the organization name I used for it. Nowadays, I just do graphic arts for people. I design things for local business. One of the companies I work for is DCCW, or work with. I don't exactly work for them, but I do designs for them. They have a YouTube presence, Destiny Combat Championship Wrestling. Weekly, they put out a video called Glorify, which is kind of their flagship show. And I help them with designs. I redesigned a lot of their graphics for them so it looks more professional. And also I do their event posters. It's a small income, but yes, it does help with other things. So if you need graphics done, please go to my Facebook page. Again, it's Sandman Art and Design. I'll have a link for that down below down below the video, and also I'll have a link for DCCW Wrestling. So as you see, basically I've been doing some work on the side, and just to help pay the bills. So disability again not going anywhere, barely even going up, while cost of living is skyrocketing. So most of my time really goes into being able to pay my bills. So this is the first time in a while, like I said, that I've been able to do a more complex meal. So tonight we are doing a hybrid I came up with a while back. I've always liked chicken carbonara, and I've always liked chicken Alfretto. So I came up with kind of an Italian casserole, which is a hybrid of two, which I call chicken Alfredo carbonara. So let me get everything prepped and we'll get started here in a moment. Okay, to start off, while you're prepping the rest of the meal, first thing you want to do is start off with the chicken. I have a pound of chicken tenderloins here. You can use chicken breast, chicken thighs, about a pound of meat. This also works with shrimp, salmon, steak, and pork. Mainly it's shrimp and salmon. So what I do is a saute dust. You want pepper. Go generous with the pepper. Go a little bit of salt. Generous with the onion powder. And generous with the garlic powder. I apologize if I said garlic powder earlier. That was onion powder, then garlic powder. A little bit of smoked paprika. Not much. And then that's the saute dust. Then I go with a little bit of dried oregano. You can guesstimate on this. I say it's about a half tablespoon of onion powder and garlic powder each. I'd say about a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of pepper, about a teaspoon of oregano, and I'd say about a teaspoon of fennel. And then a teaspoon of parsley. Now this is going to sit out while you prep everything else. To go ahead and get to adhere to the chicken. Give me 1 second, let me get lids on everything here. About a tablespoon of olive oil. And then you're going to get your hand in there and mix it up. Get all the chicken nice and coated. It's okay to let this sit out for about an hour, which is basically what's going to happen while I sit there and prep everything else. What I'm going to be doing is chopping up carrot, celery, onion, mushrooms, and garlic. And also need to cut up a pound of bacon. And the bacon is the carbonara part. Usually carbonara involves bacon and bacon grease. So we will definitely have both. So that's well coated, and that's going to sit for about an hour. So we'll be back in just a bit. Alright, next up, I've already got everything cut up and prepped and ready to go here. I have a pound of thick cut bacon sliced up about 1 inch long slices. What I'm going to do is go ahead and start rendering that down because we need the grease out of it. If you notice, I'm using a deep dish pan. We'll end up actually making the casserole thing in this pan. If you want, you can use a deep casserole pan. If you don't have a deep dish. If you don't have a deep one, either way, you probably can use 2 pans, or you can just make half the recipe. So let me get these rendered down till crisp, and then I'll get them off the drain. And then we'll cook up the chicken. Be right back. Okay, now that the bacon is rendered down, I'm going to go ahead and pull it and let it drain. Kind of want it at this point here. Don't worry about getting too much of the grease off it, because it will be returning back to the dish here in a little bit. And try to control yourself not to eat up all the bacon while you're cooking, because this is an ingredient that needs to go back into the pasta dish. I know I have a hard time not eating it all up. So what I want to do is get all this out of here, and then I will take a regular spoon and try to get most of the drippings out of here. You want to leave some to cook the chicken in, but you want to conserve a lot of this oil or grease. So what we want to do, I'm going to put this off the side. We will take another ladle make sure the handle's not too hot. I'm going to get half of this out of here. I have the temperature at a medium low right now. We'll get as much as we can out of here at the moment. You want to leave about 2 tablespoons, which is what we have. We'll go ahead and spread that back around. And then we go ahead and put the chicken in there. There we go. We'll go ahead and cook these until done. And we'll be back then. See you in a moment. Alright, so the chicken is cooked completely through. I'll go ahead and put those off to the side to residual cook and cool off, and then I'll end up chopping it. Again, this will be returning to the dish a little bit later on. As you see on the side here, I have a pot of water boiling, or coming to a boil. Sorry, the plate was starting to collapse. That is for my pasta in a little bit. Since water takes so long to come up to a boil, I just wanted to put it on low and let it come up to temperature. We'll be doing a pound of angel hair pasta. So that will start here in a few moments once I start blending everything else. What I'm going to do is add about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. And then I will pour a little bit of bacon grease in there. Not much. We'll let that come up to temperature. If you notice, a lot of the fennel and seasoning got left behind. Plus there's bacon at the bottom still on the pan. And that will come off once I start cooking the onions. The moisture from the onions should start breaking that loose. What I have in here is 1 full onion and a clove of garlic chopped up. We will cook these until they start to go tender and translucent, which should not be more than about a minute or so. Once that happens, we will add the carrot and celery to it. What I did is probably about the equivalent of 4 sticks of carrot and 5 stalks of celery. Basically, I did about 12 baby carrots and 5 stalks of celery. I chopped those up. You want to chop everything about this fine right here. Those are starting to get to that point, so we'll go ahead and add the carrots and celery. We will cook these down until they sweat out and start to become tender. So until that point, we'll be right back. Alright, these are pretty well sweat down now. They're about at the point that you want them. So we'll go ahead and go from here and add 8 ounces of mushrooms chopped up. I use baby portobellos. We'll go ahead and let that sit in there for a little bit until they darken up and absorb most of the moisture in there. So again, we'll be back in just a bit. Okay, we're at a point now I can go ahead and start adding the sauce. I'm going to cheat and actually add jarred Alfredo sauce. I have made Alfredo sauce before. Basically, it's just butter and then melting in Parmesan and cream with garlic. But I'm going to cheat this time. I'm going to use a jar of Alfredo. And what I will do is actually add a half a cup of milk. Let me drop the temperature on that before it gets too out of here. I'll put a half cup of milk into the jar. Put the lid back on and give it a good shake. This will wash out the rest of it. There we go. And I will add just a hair more bacon grease to this. About that much. And give it a good stir to incorporate it on. And we'll let that sit and cook for a little while. And while that's cooking, I'll go ahead and start up the angel hair pasta. Of course, my water's coming to a slow boil over here, so we'll get that started up in a minute. Let me go ahead and do that. Apologize, my hands give me a hard time. They like to do special things with boxes now. It's totally open in a different way than it's been open for the past 100 years. Alright. There we go. Alright, so we'll give that a moment to boil down. Make sure you feather the pasta every once in a while. What that means is you take a pair of tongs, just kind of lightly grab the pasta and feather it out because you don't want it to start sticking. I've already put oil in there that kind of helps it from sticking, but you want to feather it every once in a while, so at least till it starts getting soft so they don't stick together. Alright, so we'll be back in a moment when the pasta's done. We'll see you in a moment. Also, I have the oven warming up 350, so that should be ready by the time the pasta's ready. So, see you in a bit. Alright, so angel hair doesn't take very long to cook. It says to cook it for 6 to 7 minutes. It's been there for only about 3 to 4 minutes. I don't want it to go much longer because I want to absorb a lot of the moisture in this. So we'll go ahead and drain it. And what we do is when we put it in here, we kind of stir it in a little bit. And what this will do is absorb up a lot of that extra moisture that's in the Alfredo here. Older pan, it has a kind of the center is a little lower than the rest of the pan, so it tends to spin on me every time I touch it. The pan's got to be at least about 70 years old. It's another restoration pan that I found that was pretty well rusted out, and I restored it. I'm at the point now I can go and pull the drain out and just dump the rest of the pasta in there. I'll go ahead and do that. You don't want to rinse pasta because as soon as you rinse pasta, it doesn't want to absorb anymore. So you just drip dry it and pour it straight into your sauce. The only reason you would rinse your pasta is if you're making like a pasta salad or something. You want it to stop cooking so it doesn't absorb stuff as you add oil to it and stuff to make the salad. But when you're cooking pasta into a sauce, you want it to kind of absorb the sauce, make sure none came through the holes. There we go. So we'll give this a good stir and incorporate the bacon and the chicken here in a moment. Let me get the bacon or the chicken. There we go. Most of the spices and everything that's on the chicken is what you want into the actual dish. And of course my oven's up at temperature. Let me get a rag to grab that handle to keep it from spinning. There we go. And at this point, you can add Parmesan to it if you want. I usually don't. Make sure we give this a good mix to make sure everything's incorporated into the pasta. The Parmesan does do pretty good with it, but I really don't prefer it. I'd rather it actually make its own crust when I bake it. So we'll do that. Let me go ahead and incorporate the bacon. And yes, I controlled myself, only had 2 pieces. So we'll go ahead and put that rag back around the hot handle here, if I can. It's a little easier to mix with a pair of tongs than with a spatula. Let me go ahead and tray it off again. There we go. Much better. I apologize for the noise. They usually mow on Mondays and they decide to come out today, I guess because of all the wet weather we had recently. It was hard to mow while the ground was wet. So we'll have to put up with the mowers here for a bit. So we'll go ahead and flatten that out a little bit. I guess the spatula will be good for that. There we go. And we'll garnish with some parsley. What I do is lay out the top and then I'll pinch out of it. And if you have fresh basil or something like that, you can lay a couple leaves on top of there for garnish. It is flavorful too. So we'll put this in the oven and let it bake for about 20 minutes and we'll be back in a moment. There we go. After about 20 minutes, go ahead and pull this out of the oven. We'll let that sit there for about 15 minutes to cool and for the pasta to go ahead and soak in the rest of the moisture. And then we'll cut into it and serve it up and take pictures for the thumbnail. So please leave a thumbs up if you like what you saw. As always, if you try my recipes, please let me know how they turn out. And as always, have a great week and a great weekend, and bon appetit.